What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Boleros. Sam here with the Sultan of Sando, Mr. Gab Lim, and Mr. Maui Yap. And kita nyo naman sa background ng episode na to kung ano ang magiging topic natin. We're going to
NBA!
talk about the NBA kasi walang UAAP.
Juniors
Okay.
daw!
Juniors. Pwede.
Ateneo is...
So,
No.
walang ganyan.
Huwag
Gab,
ka na
walang
magkakanyan, bro.
Please lang, wag natin kawawa naman yung mga bata. But for today, we're going to talk about the NBA. The NBA is back on DisneyPlus. Tapos first time I think in our NBA Disney Plus podcast episodes, we're going to talk about two games today. So we watched two games on Disney Plus today. We'll talk about the Eastern team first, the Cavs versus the Sixers. Mamaya, let's talk about the Western teams, Nuggets versus Mavs. Let's get started with the East. Medyo disappointing, I would say, yung results. Cavs.
Both games?
Both games, actually. But specifically this one, Cavs giving Philadelphia the beatdown. 133-107. Donovan Mitchell dominating, 35 points, 9 assists, 7 rebounds. Kahit nandyan si Paul George, kahit nandyan si Joel Embiid, kahit nandun si Maxey, wala, off nights mostly for
They
everyone.
Let's just put
they
it that
sucked.
way. They
Gab.
sucked.
Anong masasabi mo sa Sixers versus Cavs?
Eyesore for the 76ers. Joel Embiid, I think, turned the ball over 4 times in the first quarter. And could have honestly even been more. I think it traveled so many times where they just didn't call it. Well, they don't call traveling in the NBA most of the time, diba? Ganun naman. But yeah, the Sixers sucked. Tyrese Maxey usually plays close to 40 minutes a game. The fact that he played 31 minutes? Yeah, yung 31 minutes in this game just goes to show you how much of a blowout this was. They just didn't have it. Paul George had a brief good stretch in that second quarter when the Sixers tried to make a run. Si Joel Embiid, after getting a turnover and baiting a foul, did come alive a little bit. I think he scored 10 or 11 straight points after that. But I have to give credit to the Cleveland Cavaliers. This is one of the better games that they've played the entire season. Ang ganda panoorin ng offense nila, especially when it's clicking, when their shots are going in, when their three-point shots are going in, because that's how they love to play. Ang ganda panoorin. I think they had 20 assists in the first half, 41 total assists for the entire game. That is crazy. They were moving the ball around. Iba yung effect when they have a Darius Garland in the lineup. Very different. You see the ball move. And yes, I did jinx that yung Darius Garland in this game. I know what you're about to say, Sammy. Just for context, yung sabi ko sa chat namin, the Cavs are different when Darius Garland is healthy, and then a few minutes after that, he gets injured.
Oh my God.
The Boleros curse at work, even in the NBA. I can't believe this. But when Darius Garland is in the lineup, it's a very different dynamic for the Cleveland Cavaliers because they have another playmaker beside Donovan Mitchell. Diba? When Donovan Mitchell gets the ball, it's usually centered around him to do all the playmaking. You've seen it before in the playoffs last season when Darius Garland was injured. You've seen it earlier this season when he's the lone playmaker there. It just revolves around him. But when Darius Garland is there, mas maganda yung ikot ng bola. The ball moves around quicker. It touches hands quicker. It touches the paint more often. There's a lot more off-ball movement just because there's another shooter and playmaker on the court. And it's very unfortunate, and I hope this is not a long-term thing. They did say, I think after the game, it was the other toe. It wasn't his right toe, which was surgically repaired in the offseason. I think it's left toe, or I might be confusing it.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's not a long-term thing. They kind of need Darius Garland because we have not seen the development of Evan Mobley on the offensive end that much in this season. I think people were expecting him to take that sort of leap on the offensive end. You defensively he's still awesome. I think if you watch this game, he was all over the court defensively. He was, I think, at 4 blocks in the entire game. He contested so many shots. He was amazing on the defensive end. Pero he can't seem to get over the hump offensively in his NBA career yet. I don't think he's cracked 20 points a game yet in his NBA career, and I think that's what Cleveland fans and Cleveland management is expecting to him. They might need to do a Jarrett Allen trade for them to get the best out of Evan Mobley. I think he's the best when he's playing at center. But yeah, overall, I love how Cleveland played in this game. Again, I said you moving the ball around, just terrific defensively, especially when Evan Mobley is covering so much ground. For the Sixers, chalk it up as a bad game, I guess. Sayang, this was the Boleros game, but we got the bad Joel Embiid. We got the bad off game from Tyrese Maxey. Actually, I was kind of holding on to hope because the Sixers have done this throughout the entire season. Na they've been down big or the first 3 quarters or whatnot. As biglang hahabol sila in the fourth quarter. They've had so many close and exciting games this season. They've done this before, but no magic from Tyrese Maxey. It's usually led by Tyrese Maxey. When they do a comeback, it's usually yung Tyrese Maxey just catching fire and just wreaking havoc on the offensive end, but he didn't have it today. So malas. Embiid looks better. He can't jump anymore. I don't think he has any lift in those knees anymore. But he's dependent now on his shooting. And a bit of craft. Pero wala siyang craft ngayon dahil puro turnover siya. So, maras natin, boys. We got a bad Sixers game to pair with a very good Cavs game.
Maui, are the Cavs back?
Bawal sa
in-integrate na rin sa amin talaga yung cursed. But I think maganda yung sinabi sa broadcast kanina about the Cavaliers. Si Kenny Atkinson was asked about their season and he said that there were certain times that he had to jolt them back. Kasi they've really struggled this season. Diba? If you know this Cavs team, they were a 64-18 team, the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference a year ago. And they're at 23-19 midway through the season. A far cry from the dominant play-in team, 7th seed. A far cry from the dominant Cavs team and complete Cavs team from a season ago. But after the loss against Utah last game for the Cavs, sabi ni Kenny Atkinson, he didn't have to jolt them back. I think that really woke them up. Losing to a team like Utah, who's resting players left and right, who wants to get to the lottery. It's frustrating lang kasi, as Gab mentioned, they were playing A-list basketball, but Darius Garland went down with an injury and couldn't get back to the game. I don't know if yung score was a huge factor, but it's frustrating if you're a Darius Garland fan. Much like si Kyrie Irving, he's a dynamic point guard. And very fun to watch, very steady. But yes, if you look at this long list of injuries, he doesn't heal so fast. Diba? He always gets minor injuries, and to the point that si Donovan Mitchell has had to really carry the load, averaging career highs across the board. Yet Cleveland struggling off the bat. But I can say, Sam, that they're back, to be honest, after today. They need some level of consistency. We've seen them being so good and we've seen them being so bad, losing to teams who are depleted. I think they also lost the game against Detroit with the Detroit team so depleted. I think missing 3 out of 5 of their starters. So I think to become truly a contending team, a championship contender in the NBA. You have to be consistent night in and night out. Just like how the OKC Thunder us, just like how SJ is, di ba, with his 20-point streak. But lots of room to grow for Cleveland. I think the first thing they need to do is really to get healthy. A lot of players have been in and out of their lineups. Even players like Jared Allen, who's been an Iron Man, has been in and out of the lineup. So hopefully they find their ground. Last season was actually a big surprise because I don't think they've had that successful of a season without LeBron on the
True.
Cleveland Cavaliers jersey. On the Philadelphia side,
Do they need a LeBron trade?
actually may
Third
rumors
time's the
yan, di ba?
charm.
Third time's the charm. On the Philadelphia 76ers side, actually from the start, it was an eyesore. I think si Embiid was foul baiting too much during the first quarter. Maxi was struggling again. I've been watching a lot of Philadelphia games recently, and si Maxi, as Gab mentioned, generally struggles in the first half but explodes in the second half. That's something we didn't see today. The reason why I watch a lot of Philadelphia games is because of their rookie, si VJ Edgecombe, who I think will be a very good two-way player in the future. I think si Paul George is a good person to model his game from. I love how he brings energy. I love how he plays defense, how he rebounds. I think if there's one thing the Sixers really struggle at this season, it's rebounding because they're playing Paul George most of the time or Kelly Oubre at the 4 slot, and si Embiid, I think, is averaging a career low 6 rebounds a game from your center. So I think the
Because he
Cavaliers
can't
did a pretty
jump.
good job. I think the Cavaliers did a pretty good job of maximizing yung mismatches and putting Embiid a lot in the action. That led to a lot of drive and dishes out, leading to, as Gab mentioned, 20 total 3-pointers and 41 assists. I think that was perfect basketball what the Cavaliers played a while ago. And if you love basketball, if you love offense, you would have loved how they scored and played a while ago, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Sam.
Uh, so you talked about it, 'di ba? Yung health yung one of the main issues nila. But other than the health, assuming na relatively more or less they're going to be a healthy team from now until, let's say, the end of the season, do you think they're already up there? They can contend with the top teams in the East, like the Knicks and the Pistons, or if not, what do they need to do to get up there? Are they malapit na yung trade deadline? Are they a few trades, small trades away from contending, or do you want to maybe trade a guy like Garland, who's always injured, who doesn't, as much as as talented as he is, kung if you can't show up, hindi din pwede, 'di ba? So, what do you think? Gab, ikaw muna.
No, I don't think they should trade Darius Garland. As I said earlier, they need a Darius Garland. They need another playmaker, right? They need the point guard because aside from Donovan Mitchell, they don't have anyone who can just take over the offense, create shots for others. They don't have anyone like that. Who they do need to trade, I think, and I said his name earlier, I think it's Jared Allen. I think he has had a very underwhelming season. Actually, since last season, he's been his numbers has been sliding down across the board. So, and I said it earlier, and I still believe this. I think the best Evan Mobley is Evan Mobley at center. I think they should play him at center. It's the same thing with Anthony Davis. They tried Anthony Davis at power forward for years. He never wanted to play center because he doesn't want the physicality of it all. But he plays the best, much like Evan Mobley at center. I do think they need to make that to clear that runway for Evan Mobley, just for him to play him at center. Who do they need to get back? I do think a scoring wing. DeAndre
wing.
Hunter,
Allen for a wing.
Yeah, in my opinion, because they need another guy who can make plays. I think si Caris LeVert was so valuable for them in the past because he's a guy who comes off the bench who can make plays.
Ty
can
Jerome.
actually, yeah, and Ty Jerome was pretty valuable for them last year because coming off the bench, he can create offense for himself and for others. They need another guy like that, especially if Darius Garland is going to be injured and in and out of the lineup. And come playoffs time, they need another guy who you can give the ball to and generate offense. Because sa playoffs last year when Garland was out, we saw a glimpse of Evan Mobley, but it was all Donovan Mitchell. It's kind of weird for a Cavs team that's pretty talented and pretty deep. So I do think they need more wing scoring and not just shooting because they have a ton of shooting. They still don't have Max Strus back. So they have a ton of shooting, but they need scoring. A guy who can generate his own offense. Now, I don't know who is available out there. Well, there are a lot available, but it depends on what the market is for Jarrett Allen. So, yun sa akin, maybe a guy like si Benedict Mathurin who's, underwhelming in Indiana. Maybe he can thrive next to Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. Scoring wing. Also, so yun para sa akin, ang need ng Cleveland. Other than that, I do think actually it's kind of weird because they have mostly the complete roster from last season. Tinanggal lang si Ty Jerome. It's just I don't think they have the attitude to actually win games. There are games wherein they just give up. When they get gut punched. I'm trying to recall what game was that na hinab at Knicks. The next game, they were up big. I think during Christmas, they were up big. Then the Knicks fought back, but aside from Donovan Mitchell, they had no one who was fighting back the comeback. So I don't think this Cavs team, aside from Donovan Mitchell, has that attitude to say that, hey, we're not gonna get punked or we're not gonna get embarrassed, diba? Like what happened in Utah. We're not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen like that. So I don't know. Maybe they need a locker room guy, a guy to wake them up, sort of what Udonis Haslem did for the Miami Heat for years. If they were if they were screwing up on the court, Udonis would just go to his teammates and just shout at them, What the hell are you doing? Wake up. We can't get punked like this. Cleveland does not have that, I don't think. And it shows when you watch Cleveland games, sometimes nawawala yung energy, nawawala yung fight. So, aside from trading Jarrett Allen, that's something they need to develop. I don't know who will give that sort of attitude to Cleveland Cavaliers because they have talent. Obviously, magaling sila. They won 64 games last season with the same roster. So, it's something else.
Alam na, Gab, Jarrett Allen for a scoring wing that provides them a veteran presence. Bring back the king, LeBron James, to the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Hindi na defensive wing yun, brother.
Hindi na nga defensive. Yun lang. Hindi na defensive. Maui.
Yeah, I think si Gab talked about it a lot. They have enough firepower, but you cannot underestimate having multiple playmakers. And I think losing Ty Jerome was a very big thing. That's the NBA for you, diba? You still have your top 5 players in starting lineup mo, but when you lose your identity, when you lose your bench, the guys who scrub, the guys who hustle, that's a difference between a high 40 win team versus a 60 win team. I think the Denver Nuggets is a perfect example of that, who we'll talk about later. That's a team that went through that cycle, diba? Losing your bench mob in the NBA. But I think it would be if the Cavs decide to trade Jarrett Allen, they would have to go with a defensive stopper, a point of attack defender, similar to maybe a Dylan Brooks. I can't believe si Dylan Brooks is a commodity right now because of how he turned around yung how he brought
everywhere
in
he goes,
mentality.
he wins, bro.
Oh, actually.
Diba? Because
yung team niya overachieves
because he brings that dog, diba? I mean, love him or hate him, but he brings that dog mentality to the game, similar to like a Marcus Smart or a Pat Beverly did maybe before. I think yung value of those people are understated a bit. Sometimes they get that label of dirty, but they bring that grit, di ba, and grind, and that mentality to not back down against anyone. I think si Brooks, Dylan Brooks is that kind of person, that kind of franchise-changing guy. And unfortunately, I think they brought si DeAndre Hunter to bring that type of scoring punch, but he doesn't have that dog in him. He's just a scorer. So maybe that's something that the Cavs can do in during the trade deadline. But those guys are pretty expensive. Diba? We just saw si Trae Young getting traded for nothing. We just saw si Luka get it for one first round pick. But we saw players like Mikal Bridges getting fourth round picks. Wing players, wing two-way players in the NBA are huge commodities. They're even, I think, harder to get by, or harder to have a higher price tag than the star players are. And I think the Cavs need that. They need an additional playmaker off the bench, because as Gab mentioned, they lost Levert, they lost Ty Jerome, and they possibly need, I think, another 3 and D. Tyson has been good, but he's still young and needs a lot of reps. But he's been a welcome sight sa Cavs. I think a lot of fantasy basketball players would say that a
Yeah.
3 and D, who I think rebounds the ball well, but I don't know if he fits the timeline. Because if you're the Cavs GM, I think it's win now. Coming off 63 win season last year, I think expectations are sky high, and if they continue to struggle, baka the coach will be the first one that will get the axe. And I'm sure that they should be pretty busy to the trade deadline. They have to improve their roster. But I'm not sure. I think they will still run through with the big four of Allen, Mobley, Garland, and Mitchell, and hope that they are all healthy come playoff time.
Yeah, yun yung naging problem last year, di ba? When the playoffs happened, naging injured na, depleted na rin yung team. I love the Dylan Brooks pick. Can you imagine them getting Brooks, tapos he gets the number 23 just to spite LeBron? pwede yun, di ba? Hindi pa retired yung number ni
Yeah.
LeBron eh. Hindi pa retired eh. So pwede niya kunin just to
Make
spite
it
LeBron.
happen.
Make it
Although I
happen,
don't
Cleveland, Phoenix.
I don't think Phoenix will give up Dylan Brooks. They're winning right now. So
Yeah. He's been good with
that's
Phoenix.
crazy if that happens. Oh, ano, pwede mangyari.
I love
Brooks
that.
mo, 23. After all those years na inaaway ni LeBron.
Pang-asar lang eh, no? Sige. So, we talked about Cleveland. Let's talk about the 76ers naman. Kasi ito, I find this team very, very weird. Very, very strange. They're sitting at number 5 right now. So, they are in the playoffs. Tapos, talk about parang yung 2 timelines mo, Gab, diba? They have vets like si Embiid and George, who I think both of them are not worth yung what they're getting paid for given yung injury history nila.
In the NBA.
Worst contracts, right? Probably 2 of the worst contracts in the NBA right now. I'm sure they would love to get rid of them if they could. And then you have like really talented young guys in like Max, si VJ Edgeko Maui, who you were parang keeping an eye on nung preseason pa lang, tapos sabi mo parang mukhang legit to, and then you know, first game pa lang niya he proved to us na legit siya. Even Jared McCain, a guy like Jared McCain. So parang where should, like, if you're the 76ers, parang do you just keep trying to improve the team and try to compete in the playoffs, or do you just blow this up and find a way to get rid of like the bad contracts and just focus on the process, the new process 2.0? Maui, I want to start with you this time. Parang if you were GM of the 76ers, president, what direction would you take?
Yeah, I think you have to look at yung draft capital ng 76ers, and fortunately, despite getting a Paul George, they have their picks, unlike other teams like the Clippers, who have no choice but to try to contend. So OKC doesn't get the pick. I would still run with this lineup because I don't think a lot of people will pay for George or Embiid
Or
right
Embiid.
now. And I think a player like Maxi, who's super intense, a player like Edgecombe, who's also super intense, would want to contend. You don't want to be like the Utah Jazz, where the players like Markkanen get random nights off. I don't think si Maxi or si Edgecombe are those types of player. If you're actually a fantasy basketball player who owns Edgecombe, you know that ang daming games that is questionable, ang daming games that he is part of the injury tag, but he continues to play because I think that's the type of player he is. So I think that they could contend. Diba? I guess this season, the East is very wide open. But maybe not anymore. Diba? The Celtics without Tatum are still finding a way to contend. But I think it's more open than it was in previous seasons. Diba? Players like Giannis and the Bucks are struggling. And I think maybe this is the year that the Sixers surprise. Maybe they surprise with Maxi as being the top dog, not Embiid being the top dog. I don't know, but it's pretty hard if you're the Sixers GM. If I were the Sixers GM, I'd probably be saying the rosary every night na si Embiid and George will be able to finish the season out because these two have such crazy injury history that you don't know. Just one fall, maybe they'd be out for the season. Actually, I actually recalled one play during the game, early part of the game today. I was so surprised si Embiid dove for the ball. I don't know if you guys remember that during the first quarter.
Second row ata, yung inaabot niya.
Yeah, and not just that, even
Swerte ng
on the floor.
fans.
'Di ba? Nung part of the first quarter. So, I don't know if that's a prudent thing to do for Embiid, diving for the ball if he's not even jumping to block shots and to dunk, 'di ba? And I think them celebrating an Embiid dunk just shows you how much Embiid has been plagued by injuries. Celebrating his first dunk a few games back. But nevertheless, I think this team can contend. I think they've shown in the past that with Maxi, with Edgecombe, with even si Quentin Grimes, with a bigger load, has shown that he could be a guy to depend on. They have a pretty good bench. Diba? Si Kelly Oubre also in the bench and some very young bigs like Adembo na Watford, Jabari Walker. I won't mention na si Drummond who's still there. But yeah, I think the two timelines are working perfectly because I think from the young guns, I think si McCain lang is the one that's not getting some action. All the others are getting the minutes they need. Edgecombe, I think, is averaging the most minutes sa mga rookies. Averaging 35 in a game, di ba? In the NBA nowadays, playing 35 a game is very big. Sab.
Yung si Nick Nurse is like a Thibs light eh. Very low key. He's like Thibs. He runs his players to the ground. Si Tyrese Maxey, nalala ko earlier in the season was averaging 40 minutes a game. I'm not sure if that's holding currently, but I was sure early on this season he was averaging 40 minutes a game, which is crazy. But you talk about the two timelines, Sam. I don't think the Sixers meant for this to happen. Actually, I'm so astounded by the draft luck of the 76ers. Diba? They're so
Swerte,
lucky.
no?
Diba? They had Embiid and Simmons, which they traded for James Harden. And then they were able to get Tyrese Maxey, I think late first round or first round, something like that. And when the Harden stuff did not work out, and he got shipped, then suddenly si Tyrese Maxey is a freaking superstar. And then now they locked into a high pick and get PJ Edgecombe. He looks like a future star also. Grabe yung luck ng 76ers, no? Whatever malas na nakakuha nila from the injuries of their top guns, of their franchise players like si Simmons, si Joel Embiid, si Markel Fultz, who could forget about him, di ba? Ang dami na lang unlucky breaks in the past. And for some ever reason, they've had good karma just by getting really good draft picks. So they've been drafting really well. Diba? And I actually love the 76ers early on in the season when they weren't playing Embiid and George. When they were having a lineup full of guards, just Grimes, Grimes, Edgecombe, Maxi, tapos they were just running up and down the floor, shooting a ton of threes. I love that lineup. That's actually one of my favorite games lineups to watch when they have all of those three players. With regards to their chances, again, I think sabi nga ni Maui, the East is wide open, and kudos to Darius, who's the president of basketball operations for this team. Sabi nga ni Maui, they're very, very deep. If you look yung up and down there, they have a ton of guys who can play. So one guy goes down, you have Quentin Grimes who could start the next game. You have Kelly Oubre. So they have a deep roster. They even have two very capable centers in Bona and Andre Drummond, who's had some good games so far this season. For Embiid, offensively, I think he'll be fine. I think they have a plan just to get him through the season, make him ready for the playoffs, because it's really just the playoffs for Joel Embiid. Pero I think his shooting and his skill can get him by offensively. Defensively, wala, he can't he can't move or jump. So they're gonna have to cover for that. He still has flashes yung here and there, but throughout the whole game, I don't think he can really move that well anymore. So they have to lean a lot on Tyrese Maxey. Crazy as it is, with Paul George and Joel Embiid there, who are paying big money to, their best player, their franchise guy, is Tyrese Maxey. And he's one of my favorite players to watch. Sobrang exciting ni Tyrese Maxey maglaro.
Yeah, si Embiid wala na eh. Tito gaming na siya eh. Alam mo yung gulang na lang, idaan mo na lang sa gulang, di na tumatalon. Ganyan talaga pag trentahin na. Yeah, but I do agree. Like, si Maxi na talagang magiging main guy ng Sixers. Not really Embiid and Paul George. Siguro hatak lang din. The star names are still there. I can't believe you guys forgot to mention the secret weapon of the Sixers. Si Kyle Lowry tsaka si Eric Gordon. Super secret weapon. Ilalabas lang nila sa playoffs siguro.
That's locker room.
Yun yung kala ng Cavs. Yung ba yung kala ng Cavs?
Yeah.
Actually,
niya kala ng Cavs. Yeah, just to add lang, Sam, just to finalize, I think it's hard to trade Embiid because he's under contract until 2029. And si Paul George is under contract under 2020. Both have player options.
Parang same. Yeah.
Last year.
Same.
Last year ng contract nila. And if you're Embiid and George, I think you will exercise that player option for sure. That 50 million is easy money.
100%
they just really have to get out of this lineup. I don't think they could trade anyone of value, at least. And sabi ni Maui, I think they're good. I think they have a very deep roster. They have a ton of good players. Just really trying to maximize the max. Pun not intended. But they really have to know Tyrese Maxey now, right now, their main guy. I'm sorry, but there are times talaga sobrang eyesore talaga ni Embiid maglaro. And I think he should take a step back right now to Tyrese Maxey.
Agree. I think si Embiid parang you just expect an average Joel Embiid to give you, let's say, 20 minutes a game. That's enough for the Sixers. That's the expectation. It's not that high, to be honest. So this is Maxey's team for now. Sige, moving on. Let's talk about our second game. Let's talk about the West teams, the Denver Nuggets versus the Dallas Mavericks. So kinda closer, I would say, kasi I think the Mavs made a run the last few
Najee Marshall.
Najee Marshall cut it down to, I think in the fourth, the closest they got was like 5 points, 6 points. So it was kind of close, but more or less this was Nuggets all the way, winning 118-109 over the Mavs. Jamal Murray, 33 points, 5 assists in this game. Despite not having Jokic, a ton of their main guys, the Nuggets are the number 2 seed in the West. So, Gab, just wanna hear your thoughts here. And first question I wanna ask you: are the Nuggets back?
They, they never went away. And that's the amazing part. Because
Kahit
they
nawala
lost
they lost Jokic, they lost Cam Johnson, a ton of guys.
Brown, Gordon,
Even
the
when-
list goes on. Grabe.
Yeah, they've been one of the more injury-stricken teams this season. Siguro yung Indiana Pacers lang yung start ng season yung lalab in terms of the injury list. But yeah, they never went away, which is a pretty amazing compliment for this Denver Nuggets team. If you look at their injury list, including the former 3-time MVP Nikola Jokic. 3-time na ba? Oh, ano ba? Yeah, 3-time MVP Nikola Jokic. It's crazy that they have a winning record. And I attribute that to 3 things, which you will see if you rewatch this game. Go watch it on DisneyPlus, by the way. The replays are available. So if you rewatch this game, you will see the 3 things why this team is still pretty successful without Nikola Jokic. One, I think I have to give the flowers to the coach, si David Adelman. I love the system that they're running, and the system that they diligently follow. They have great discipline that they still run a system, even without the guy that they give the ball the most to. If you watch this game, they were just doing a lot of cutting, a lot of off-ball movement, a lot of guys who just know where to be at every single point offensively. Like when Aaron Gordon gets it on a roll to the basket, there's always a guy from the opposite baseline making a cut at the dunker spot. So, ang ganda yung panoorin ng Nuggets because they rarely devolve into one-on-one isolation basketball. Siguro minsan lang when it's Peyton Watson or si Jamal Murray, but it's mostly they just run a lot of their offense. They move the ball around. They're very unselfish. They find open shooters. This is the reason why they're contenders and why they still remain good after all these years, because they have a system and they're very familiar with each other's games. The second reason why they're very successful, Jamal Murray. Finally, I think he's gonna get an all-star season. I think this is an all-star season for Jamal Murray. It'll be crazy if he doesn't get into it. The fact you add to that the fact that I think the all-star format allows for more all-stars to be voted into. So and the fact that he's Canadian, so there's an international team there, so a world team. So he's definitely getting into the all-star game. All-Star games. It's not necessarily one game pala.
Hindi ko na alam paano yung all-star. Iba-iba na lang. Grabe.
They don't know what to do anymore.
They don't know what to do anymore with the All-Star game. But yeah, I think Jamal Murray is a lock for the All-Star game. He's been amazing this season. I think he's close to a 50-40-90 guy. He's averaging a career high in points. And for the first time, I think, in his career, he did not start the season slow. I drafted him in one of my fantasy leagues, and I'm so happy that he's balling out. He's averaging close to 25 points per game, and actually more than 25 points per game.
Career highs
off the board. Career highs across the board. So just goes to show you the level up that he's taken this season. And even with Nikola Jokic out, he's been terrific. The third reason why I think they've been very successful, and it was very evident in this game, Peyton Watson. We gotta talk about this guy. The things he's showing since Nikola Jokic and Cam Johnson and Christian Christian Brown went down, I did not foresee this happening. The past couple of seasons, he's been a bench guy, he's been a defensive specialist, he's been put on the court to get the toughest defensive assignments. Usually si Anthony Edwards yung binabantayan niya, or the best perimeter guy on the other team. I did not expect that he had this offensive bag. They were isolating him at the top of the key, making him go one-on-one. His pull-up game is really pretty consistent now for how many games. He's averaging close to 25 points per game in since Nikola Jokic went down. That is crazy. That's crazy for a guy who's a defensive specialist and a spotty three-point shooter the past couple of seasons. He's obviously you put in the work in the off season, and even during the season, he's definitely expanded his offensive game. And to be honest, I think he's better than Cam Johnson right now. And even si Christian Brown, I think he's way better. I think he should start when Cam Johnson and Christian Brown are finally healthy enough to play. I honestly love I think he's a future star, si Peyton Watson, with what he's been showing this season. Because as usual, when I talk about this in the UAAP, when guys are out and you're given more runway and more usage, what do you do with it? And Peyton Watson is showing me that he can handle more usage. This is not just a small sample size. It's now been a prolonged stretch of games that he's had an increased usage, and he's upping his numbers across the board and remaining efficient at it. So I don't know what the Nuggets are gonna do once they get healthy, what they do with Peyton Watson, but I guarantee this: he is not gonna go back to a 20-minute per game guy. He is definitely gonna get more minutes. There is no way that they relegate him back to a 20-minute per game off the bench defensive specialist type role. No way. He's been arguably the second best player throughout this run without Nikola Jokic, and I love what I'm seeing. Future star. You talk about someone who just grinded it out. Just followed the process, trusted the work. He's had a small role the past couple of seasons in this Nuggets team, but now that the opportunity is there, he's taken advantage of it. I'm so happy for Peyton Watson.
Maui.
Yeah, actually, si Peyton Watson, the crazy part is he's only 23 years old. As much, diba, we talk about him being in the rotation for a long time, but I thought he was a bit older, 25, 26, 27 years old. But the fact that he's playing like this as a 23-year-old on a contending team is crazy to me. In 8 games without Jokic, he's actually averaging 24 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists. And he's shooting 52% from the field, maintaining yung efficiency without Jokic, and an absurd 48% from 3. I think he's been the best 3-point shooter of Denver, maybe outside of Jamal Murray. And that's crazy to say, considering they have Cam Johnson, considering to say they have Tim Hardaway Jr. And crazy. If you told me the Nuggets were going to be contending or going to be a good team without Jokic, I'd probably say you're crazy. Because if history says anything, the Nuggets are a lottery team without Nikola Jokic in all previous seasons, even having all of those players like MPJ, a healthy Jamal Murray. And I think si Gab hit it right on the nail. You have to commend the coaching staff, si Adelman. Diba, a lot of people questioned when they took out Malone and got Adelman. And I think you also have to give a lot of credit sa developmental coaches ng Nuggets, diba? They've developed players out of nothing. Christian Brown last season, Peyton Watson this season. Even si Jeremy Pickett has been a surprise this season, diba? Even
Jalen Pickett.
Jalen Pickett, even si Najee has been a surprise in some of the games that they were extremely depleted. We didn't even mention that they lost Jonas Valanciunas one game after losing Nikola Jokic. So that's how crazy this Denver Nuggets team is. I hope si Jamal Murray finally gets his first All-Star berth. Maybe smelling the dollars now that they have a world team. He can finally make the All-Star team and maybe get an All-NBA nod. And yeah, I think the Nuggets have been doing a pretty good job of just maximizing what pieces that they have on the floor. It's crazy. Crazy without Gordon, without Brown, without Jokic, even just without Jokic, you wouldn't expect them to play this good. But without all of those guys, they've outperformed expectations, and because of that, I think that they're one of the top contenders to win the championship. I think I mentioned this to you guys off air a while ago. I thought Denver could have been the champions if si Aaron Gordon wasn't injured last year, if he didn't injure his hamstring. I thought that they were the best team that contended with the OKC Thunder. And with players like Watson, players like Pickett, even yung rookie nila si Jones has been a revelation. If these guys continue to contribute with Jokic back, with Brown, Johnson back, I think the Nuggets are a very dangerous and scary team to watch out for in the West. Just crazy. I think the Nuggets will have a big problem in the offseason when they have to start paying Peyton Watson. I don't know how they will make it work. Another team will probably offer this guy a lot of money with the way he's playing because he's a two-way player. Remember, in the NBA, there are so many good scorers. There are so many players who can just put numbers on the board when a lot of players on their team are gone. But there are not a lot of good offensive two-way players in the NBA. Diba? We just mentioned in the early part of our episode, players like Mikal Bridges and even si Cam Johnson, diba? They get a lot of draft picks. They get a lot of assets just to acquire players like them. And I think Payson Watson is a player to watch out for in the future.
Maui, if Denver made it to the finals, would you take Denver over the field sa East? Denver over
Definitely.
any team in the East, no?
Definitely.
Sure, no?
I think
Assuming
a lot
healthy.
of the
Assuming
Western
healthy.
a lot of the Western Conference teams are hoping to get to the finals because I think they have an advantage versus the Eastern Conference teams. I think outside maybe the New York Knicks being fully healthy, anybody from the West can beat the top contenders from the East. I think Detroit is still too young to win a championship. I think Boston is this is already the peak of the Boston Celtics. I don't know if si Tatum will rush to go back. Just look at the standings, diba? It's crazy. The Toronto Raptors are number 4 in the East, diba? And the West
True.
is such a crazy up and down marathon of the top teams. That a team like the Lakers are already I think the 6th seed, tied with the 6th seed, Houston Rockets.
Let's not talk about the Lakers, Maui.
Yeah, but diba, the West is just a different beast than the East. Always has been during our generation. And I think if the Denver Nuggets get into the finals, heck, even if the Spurs or the Wolves, or maybe mentioning again the Lakers, get into the finals, anything is possible. Diba? If you beat the OKC Thunder, I think the East is easily beatable if you get past everyone, the juggernauts from the West.
Okay, before we go to the Mavs, siguro, I guess one thing I do wanna add sa Denver Nuggets. I think yung hindi naman resurgence because he has been good for the Nuggets, but yung the way Aaron Gordon's game has evolved, I think there's deserves to be mentioned also. Wala sa bingo card ko yung Aaron Gordon hitting like 10 threes at the start of the season. if when I was thinking about the start of the NBA season, I would have never imagined that. I think he's been huge for the Nuggets also. Yung efficiency niya, especially yung lalo na yung shooting niya. He wasn't known to be a guy like that before. Even when they got him, I think they got him as like an athletic defender, diba? Rebounder, a guy that can fit with Jokic. But I think yung efficiency niya this season has been huge for them. Kaya even without Jokic, I think they've been really good. Actually, they've missed him kasi he missed a couple of games na rin si Aaron Gordon. Okay, going to the Mavs. We were excited actually about this.
Wait, Sammy. Before we move on to the Mavs, something about Peyton Watson. What's impressive about his 3-point shooting is not just spot up threes. It's also pull up threes, step back threes.
Yung step
he's
back,
hitting.
no?
Oh,
Grabe,
he's
no?
hitting. But this is something that you never saw Peyton Watson do, and he's hitting it at a pretty efficient rate. It's crazy. So I'm not sure if it will continue beyond these 8 games, but I think it will. And I think they will have a hard time cutting his minutes down given how well he's playing. Honestly, ako si Christian Brown, I'm scared that I'm never gonna get my starting spot back because Peyton Watson is just playing out of his mind. So
That's
go Maui.
that's crazy to say, di ba? Considering Christian Brown just had the career year.
Di ba? Oh, yun nga eh. But and the other thing, Maui, I totally forgot about Jonas Valanciunas. But yeah, I was gonna say when Jokic went down, I think I added si Valanciunas in 4 leagues for my fantasy leagues, and I was so
Unahan!
happy. Sabi ko,
Unahan lahat.
unahan yun eh. Unahan yun eh. Sabi ko, uy, sige, wala namang fab eh. Sige, add na Jonas. And then he got injured the next freaking game. What is this luck? Ang malas ko naman. Ano ba yan? So yun lang. Anyway, sige, let's move on.
Yeah, I think Jonas Valanciunas is just ready to go back to Europe. Diba? That was his original plan. Sige, moving on. I think when we saw the schedule, we were very excited to watch this game. Kahit alam nating wala naman si Anthony Davis because at least we get to talk about the number 1 pick in this year's draft, Cooper Flagg. But, well, tambak na rin sila when he was there. So, he wasn't really a huge factor. But, obviously, Cooper Flagg left the game, re-injuring his foot, his ankle. I don't know, baka may malas yung sapatos na yun. I don't want to talk about that. But, let's talk about the Mavs. So, Cooper Flagg injured, AD's out, although sabi nila he will completely heal with his hand injury. If you're a Mavs fan, it's been downhill since the Luka Doncic trade. Though you got Cooper Flagg, what does the what do you need to do if you're the Mavs? Like anong gagawin mo with this team this season? Alam natin may mga AD trade rumors, whatever. Maui, they do have their pick for this coming draft. So, yun yung very important factor doon.
Yeah, I think they're fortunate to have their pick kasi I think after that, they don't have control over their picks anymore. I think the NBA made it a point for them to get Cooper Flagg because if they didn't get Cooper Flagg, just look at his lineup right now. I don't know what you do. But me personally, I think they should fully reset with Cooper Flagg. I love how si Cooper Flagg plays and it's crazy to think that Cooper Flagg is actually very young. Even a year younger than the usual college freshman because he reclassified and went up a draft class. I think I drafted this guy in multiple fantasy leagues because I love watching him play at Duke and I think he's a star in the make. No, he's not a star in the make. He's a star already right now, and I think the prudent thing to do is to fully reset, and I think that's one of the main reasons why si Anthony Davis is on all over trade rumors, and a bit unfortunate that he injured his thumb. Maybe some teams are not willing to trade for that. So very ambiguous. I think that's the right term. Ambiguous the prognosis when it comes to Anthony Davis. I think it was hilarious that he posted on Twitter, on X, that what these insiders are posting that he's out for the season is not true. So I think that's something to watch out for the Mavs. I think they have to maximize his value while they can. Remember, Anthony Davis has and has always been and is always been an injury-prone player. And when you get older, the tendency is you get more injuries. Just look at this long list of injuries just with the Mavs. I think we've talked about this on our group chat. So when we sent yung infographic, the list was this long, and that's just what half a season or one season total with the Mavs. I think they have a lot of assets, and I think it is unfortunate. Si Lively, who they've been developing, has been injured back-to-back seasons with season-ending injuries. I think that they don't have any more other players to develop maybe outside. Maybe si ano na lang, Max Christie is another guy that they can develop. I think si Najee Marshall is a guy who grabs opportunity and makes the most out of it. Maybe they can trade him to a team that needs to do it all forward. But I think the Mavs should just pull the plug, really, and do a full reset. I hope si Cooper Flagg. Oh, sorry. The Mavs. The Mavs have to do a full reset. The Cavs.
Najee Marshall to the Cavs. They need someone like him, honestly.
Or maybe like PJ Washington, di ba? Who's also a floor stretching guy who can defend multiple positions. But yeah, I'm hoping si Cooper Flagg goes back. I actually watch a lot of Mavs games because I think si Cooper Flagg could be a better version of Jason Tatum. That's in the future. I love how he drives to the basket, and I think when he gets a 3-point shot, he's gonna be a superstar. I love how he already has so an improved ball handling. I love how he's able to facilitate. I think yung playmaking is the most surprising thing for me in year one for Cooper Flagg. I don't think I saw this when he was in Duke. He was more of a power forward when he was at Duke. Although he had some opportunities to create his own shot. But if you're a Mavs fan, hopefully he's not out long because I don't know if you'll still watch a game without Cooper Flagg playing.
Gab, any silver linings for the Mavs?
Wala. They suck.
Diretsuhan na eh.
like Maui, I've watched a lot of Mavs games this season just because I want to watch Cooper Flagg. And I'm sad to say, with Anthony Davis, they suck. With Anthony Davis, actually, they look decent. Because AD is a defensive beast and can change the game all by his lonesome. So, but without me, they're a hard watch. They're not that good. The fact that I think they missed 18 straight threes in this game. I think they were 2 out of something heading to the fourth quarter. And the 2 threes that they hit from very old Klay Thompson. So this is one of the this is the total opposite of the Sixers, where the 2 timelines are working for them. The 2 timelines are not working for the Mavs at all. So just like Maui, I agree with him. Should just blow it up. Build around Cooper Flagg. They have their pick for this season. Tank right now and try to get a really good pick in the upcoming draft, which projects to be a really deep draft. They have a lot of top end, young top end that is pretty wild to get beside Cooper Flagg. So I think they should start tanking right now. They should trade Anthony Davis, and heck, if he's still out, they should trade Kyrie Irving. Because really, from both sides, does Kyrie Irving really want down for the Cooper Flagg rebuild? I don't think so. I think he wants to win. On the other hand, for the Mavs side, you have a trade chip in Kyrie Irving. He's out right now, but we all know what he can be. So get assets back, get more picks back, build around Cooper Flagg. So they're not going to go anywhere this season. Again, they suck. They're a really bad team. Grabe.
Najee Marshall He's playing 38 minutes. I think that tells you the story.
If Najee Marshall is leading you in scoring, that tells you
Yeah.
your story. Yun eh. It's saying leading scoring of the team. That's kind of crazy. But yeah, they should just blow it up. There's nothing left to be said about this game. They were bad. They were up against a pretty good team in the Denver Nuggets, despite having no MVP with them, and the Mavs just don't have enough to beat the Denver Nuggets. And I actually think they should coaches. I don't like how Jason Kidd coaches, to be honest. I'm not a big Jason Kidd fan. His offensive sets are very stale. Evolves into a lot of one-on-one basketball, sometimes a lot of drive-in kicks. Defensively, without Anthony Davis, again, they suck. And I'm sad for Mavs fans. I'm happy for us Lakers fans. We got their franchise cornerstone. Not a good season for the Mavs.
Thank you, Nico Harrison.
Thank you. Actually, on paper, nung off-season, if you look at their lineup, parang, they can make some noise.
Yeah.
Some people were even hyping up the D'Lo signing. Ako parang, really? D'Lo? He's a guy who doesn't defend also. So, it's not worked out well for the Mavericks. And if a team wants Anthony Davis, and I'm not really sure if a team will want Anthony Davis.
That's the question. If a team wants Anthony Davis, meron bang may gusto?
Yeah, because
Atlanta
if there's one... Ano yan?
Atlanta.
Daw, I think.
Atlanta for AD.
Maybe
KP for AD.
Balik si KP sa Mavs, no? Since wala na sila. One that might be left out in the possible trade destination for AD is AD has to sign an extension with that team unless they want to go for a 1-year rental, and he's injured right now. So that's a quarter of a season rental if you get AD right now. So who's gonna want that? So whoever's gonna trade for AD, they have to get his commitment that he's gonna sign. And who wants to sign him now? He's injury prone. He'll want big money. The Mavs are in a very tough spot. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's the reason why si Rich Paul is asking for a trade, diba? Kasi ang sabi nila is they're asking for an extension for AD, pero the Mavs said maybe. So to Rich Paul, that's a no. So he wants the Mavs to trade AD before the trade deadline. Obviously, hindi naman masusunod si Rich Paul or si AD. They have a contract with the Mavs. Ako, if I'm the Mavs, trade AD, but I don't mind waiting until next year. If kailangan, but I won't play him. I'll just tank. Basta, what's important for me, I'll tank this season. Get a high draft pick in a very, very loaded upcoming draft class. But yeah, to Gab's point, siguro walang silver lining for them. Cooper Flagg na yung silver lining, but he's been injured, so hopefully it's not that bad of an injury for the Mavs. At least you have a very young superstar that you can build around, and then hopefully you can trade the old guys. Yun nga, I was gonna mention D'Lo, si Klay Thompson din, Gab, maybe other guys that you could trade na smaller contracts. Oo, maybe smaller contracts if you can trade AD and get, some sort of asset, or maybe get younger at least. Just build around Cooper Flagg. I think that's the plan. Cause I don't know. Yun nga, iniisip ko lang, sure, Atlanta, sige, but it's so hard to trade for AD kung ang expectation ni AD is to get signed to that extension. And I think he wants to get signed until he's like 38 years old. Oh, wow. Oh God, have mercy. Paano pa yon? Kung injury prone ka na nung bata ka, paano pa kaya pag mas matanda ka na? So, sorry to the Mavs fans, but That's how it is. At least you have Cooper Flagg. Lumampas na tayong 1 hour. Anything else that you want to talk about sa games before we end the show, Gab?
Uh, Nothing much. Although I do love Mark Jones was calling the first game, and then I think Mike Breen called the second game. So, thank you to Disney Plus that we
Parang
got
playoffs.
those. Yeah, yung parang playoff
Actually.
feel. Si Mike Breen got a bit excited when the Mavs were making their comeback. I think he was kind of expecting, hey, this might get exciting, and the Nuggets just went on a torrid run. On the Nugget side, I think this will help them in the long term. I think a lot of these guys will benefit from playing big minutes now, and when it comes to late in the season, and even in the playoffs, when if they cop any injuries or if they cop foul trouble, they can. These guys have shown that they can play a pretty big role for the Denver Nuggets. Yun lang.
Okay, before we end, we do want to talk about the upcoming games on Disney Plus. So we do have it's going to be a back-to-back for the Cavs and Sixers. So on Jan 17, we have another Cavs versus Sixers game at 8 o'clock. Hopefully, the Sixers will not start slow and keep things interesting. The second game on the 17th is actually pretty interesting. The Wolves versus the Rockets. So two teams trying to solidify their playoff positioning in the West. So watch out for those two games. And remember, Disney Plus does not only include the games, they also have the pre-game shows. So if you want to talk about analysis to the game, preview what's coming up, you can check out the NBA pre-games, the pre-game shows on Disney Plus. So please, dun sa mga may Disney Plus, I know a lot of you have Disney Plus already. Check out the NBA games on Disney Plus. Before we end, that's it for us. Don't forget, like this video if you haven't yet. Share us your thoughts. Ano yung mga takeaways nyo from the NBA games on Disney Plus today? The trade deadline is coming, so we hear a lot of trade chatter
Wala nang
already.
tulugan.
Wala nang tulugan to. So it's all about the
Wala nang
rumors. So
traded.
we hear a lot of chatter about the Mavs, the Cavs, the Nuggets. So stay tuned for that. Maybe we'll talk about the trade deadline kapag mag-trade deadline. Just like last year, we did breaking news when Luka got traded. So stay tuned for that. We'll also cover another NBA on Disney Plus game day next week, I think. So wait for that this January. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye. Ingat.